Hey guys, welcome to the Travel Wisdom Podcast. Now, we're doing something a little bit different today. Normally I just talk on the podcast, but this time I'm also going to be uploading this particular episode, and maybe the episodes where I speak as well, on YouTube to basically get reach out to other people that potentially don't have podcasts or just are browsing the internet. So either way, if you're watching this on YouTube, then make sure I have a podcast as well. Maybe you'll like it. And if you're listening to the podcast, then check it out on YouTube and you can see my smiling face. So today we're going to be talking about getting sick while traveling. And for those of you who are watching me on video, you see I have a band-aid right here on my forehead, just above my eyebrow. And this is from an unfortunate accident that happened actually on Friday. So just like 4 or 5 days ago. And so for those of you that might not know, maybe came onto the podcast late or just looking at this YouTube video, my name is Ladan. I'm the host of the Travel Wisdom Podcast, and I've been to around like 80 countries, something like this. And now I've been studying abroad in Germany for the last year or so. And I'll be happy to say this is my first hospital visit in this year. So it's been either I've been lucky or I don't know what the average length that you can stay somewhere before going to the hospital. But anyways, got celebrating. Had a crazy night, and I guess I got in a fight. I don't really remember. I guess somebody punched me, and so yeah, I ended up going to the hospital, and just got everything put together, and they decided to hold me for 24 hours because they had to make sure I didn't have a concussion, so they were always constantly checking my pupils to see if they were dilating okay, to make sure one side wasn't bigger than the other, and one pupil wasn't bigger than the other, and this would be a clear sign of concussion, which would mean I would need brain surgery. I'm not exactly sure what that would mean, but fortunately nothing. I'm completely normal, for better or for worse. But so yeah, this made me kind of think like maybe I should talk about my experience. And this isn't the first time I've been abroad, away from America, and had some kind of experience in a hospital. So I decided to talk about it. So yeah, I mean, this was my experience here in Germany. Really cool experience and great time. Unfortunately, I was there for 24 hours, and for a long time they wanted to make sure that I wouldn't have seizures as well, and I wouldn't have a concussion. So I was not allowed to watch TV, and I didn't have a book or anything like that. So literally for about 12 hours, I was just like sitting there staring at the ceiling. I had nothing to do, and nobody was there. Nobody knew I was there, which was also kind of that's another story, but. Yeah, but it was completely comfortable, and the thing is, I have health insurance here, so because I'm going here to TU Dresden, Technische Universität in Dresden, this means that I was required to have health insurance, which costs about 70 euros a month for me, which is about $100 a month, something like that. So it's quite reasonable, and from what I understand, I haven't received the bill yet, but from what I understand, it's going to be free, or I hope less than 100 euros, which in that case would be quite good. But I mean, not bad for the care, and they did 2 stitches actually, and I don't know, were just checking me all day, and then I got breakfast in the morning, so that was nice. But yeah, because of that, it was free, and so basically, if you're traveling somewhere, if you're going to be somewhere for a longer period of time, like me, like this year, or I would say maybe longer than 3 months, then you're kind of established in a place, then you should probably get the local health insurance, is what I would recommend. I haven't personally done this, so I don't know exactly what goes into it, but that's just a quick Google search away from what needs to be done in order to get this, and it could be pretty cheap, unless you're living in America, of course. In that case, good luck with that. That's gonna be quite expensive, in the few $100s per month area. But I mean, even Germany, this is a industrialized country, Europe, and it was about $100 a month, which I think is well worth the insurance, and even if I wasn't required to do it, I would have definitely looked into it by now. As I said, this isn't my first experience in a hospital outside of America, and actually in America as well. So I'm just going to kind of go through it chronologically. I've been to a few places, and I guess the other place that was like I guess more critical or emergency hospital visit in my situation at least was when I went to Egypt, and I was in Dahab, Egypt, which is on the Red Sea. Beautiful, beautiful place. Highly, highly recommend it. Great snorkeling spot, and it's just absolutely amazing. And so yeah, it was absolutely great snorkeling spot, and I got a thing for snorkeling. So as soon as we got there, me and my buddy that I was traveling with, I'm just like, let's go to the water. I want to go to the water right now. And yeah, except there was a little bit. There's some waves. I mean, not too big. It was like, maybe half meter or 2 foot waves. I mean, it wasn't too big, but it was enough to kind of like get things moving. And I guess I went out into the thing on some coral, which I didn't know exactly was there, and I didn't know that there was better places to come into the water and start snorkeling. But I just had to go snorkeling. I couldn't wait even another few hours or something like that for the waves to stop, and I didn't know if it was going to stop. So went out there, kind of got knocked around, went snorkeling. Wasn't really going well because the waves are kind of going over my snorkel, and so like water would come in, and also I was jumping around, and it wasn't too good. And then I get out of the water and I notice I'm bleeding really bad, and I was just like, oh shoot, what happened? And there's a big chunk off my foot, so it was not very pleasant. It was bleeding pretty bad, and so I hobbled back to our hostel, which was 10-minute walk away or something like this, and eventually went to the hospital and got something like 7 stitches on my toe, on the bottom side of my toe. So yeah, I guess I was standing on the coral and a wave kind of knocked me and I cut it, but I didn't even realize it didn't even hurt actually, until I saw that I was bleeding. And so this was a pleasant experience. It was an interesting experience, kind of I guess a tourist area of it was definitely a tourist city, so this doctor was dealing mostly with tourists, and this is exactly what he said, is just like, stupid tourists always cutting themselves on the coral, they should learn not to do that. And I'm just like, yeah, stupid tourists, as I'm getting my toe sewn up. And so yeah, but it was a relatively painless experience. I mean, he put the injection in to dull the pain, and but I really don't like needles. Even for this, I was very glad that I couldn't see it because I really don't like needles, and so I was not doing well with the needle thing. The idea of a needle inside me is just I don't like it at all, and that I can see blood, but I can't do that. But yeah, in the end, I think I didn't have any travel insurance. I've never really traveled with travel insurance, like from home, because I've always found it too expensive, and I always figured that I could do it for less, unless it was some huge emergency. And I guess I've been lucky so far, so it's okay. But in this case, it wasn't too bad. I think he gave me a few creams. I mean, of course, the 7 stitches, he kind of cleaned it up and gave me a few creams and some medicine to take care of the infection if there was some, because it was, of course, on the bottom of my feet. And I am, of course, a backpacker, so I was traveling around, and going to be using it. It's going to get dirty, so I was going to get an infection. And so yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, it ran to somewhere like $70 or something like this. So it was quite reasonable, and I remember thanking him and being like, wow, this would cost at least $600 in America, and so I'm so grateful that you were able to do it for so cheap. And it's just like, wow, I could see the wheel spinning in his mind, like, maybe I should go to America, I could make more money over there. So yeah, this was another experience, and yeah, it was okay, and I kind of, yeah, anyways, another experience was in Costa Rica, actually. My girlfriend at the time and my brother and a buddy of ours were traveling through Costa Rica. It was like the second day or something like that, and our buddy was not feeling good at all, and they kept saying goma in Spanish, which means like rubber or something, and touching his arms and basically his lymph nodes everywhere, and it was really hard, and it was like rubber, I guess, and so yeah, after the end of it, we went to the hospital after we went on this tour, and he was completely not having it, and he was not doing good all day. But he really, we're finally like, okay, you're not faking it. Let's go to the hospital. And so yeah, I guess he had dengue fever, and they just gave him an IV drip and got him hydrated again, and just basically told him to, lay low and relax a little bit for a little bit. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. I don't know if the doctor or the hospital was a necessity in this case, but it was nice. I mean, just to double check to see if it was there. But maybe maybe in hindsight we didn't have to go exactly, but it was nice to get some stuff for that. And I don't remember the price for this, but it was we were there for a few hours, and basically just fell asleep with the IV drip, and that's more or less everything. But I think it was on the order of 100, 200, or $300, something like that. I would guess maybe like $150 if I remember correctly, because this is a few years ago, so I don't remember exactly. But yeah, again, another travel experience, and yeah, you haven't lived until you caught dengue fever in Costa Rica, right? Also, another one was Thailand. I was in Thailand last year, and the thing is with Thailand and all of Southeast Asia, it's gonna mess up your feet. And somehow, me as a backpacker, with a backpack and always walking around, walking at least 10 kilometers or miles every day, your feet just somehow get messed up and they don't really heal, because you're just, I guess, putting so much stress on them all the time. And Thailand, especially because of the humidity, because of the dirt, and it's so hot, so you don't want to wear shoes. You want to wear sandals, and everybody's wearing sandals. It just does not help that fact at all. And so I was also doing Muay Thai, the Thai kickboxing, and so I was always opening up wounds on my legs because I was always kicking, and you just repeatedly kick, and you just get like a little scratch on your foot, and then it would just itch because also that's where the mosquitoes were, and then you just kind of open up more, and then with the kicks even more, it would just open up again. And so I had some pretty bad cuts on my leg for a long, long time, and yeah, again, we just really went to I don't know, the pharmacy, and got all this figured out. I actually never went to the hospital. It was never so bad. But I mean, that's the thing, is also pharmacists are a really good resource. I mean, they've had a very reasonable amount of training. They have a similar amount of training as doctors. So I mean, you can come in, and if it's not a serious thing, of course, like, okay, stitches, you can't be like, oh, hey, come do this for me. But I mean, if you have something on your leg and you're just like, hey, I kind of want to close this up. I want an antibiotic. I want a cream. They're more than happy to give it to you. And in this way, it's very, very, it's much cheaper, I would say. And for me as a budget backpacker, this is quite important. If I can save $50, with a hospital visit with something I clearly know what's going on. I mean, like, if I have a cut on my leg and it's deep, and I know I need an antibiotic. I know I need to clean it up, and I know I need to keep it clean and cover it up, and then it'll heal, right? Doctor's not going to do anything to this. So this way, I mean, you can spend like, $10 on creams or and medication, whatever over-the-counter thing that you can get, and then just see how it goes, and just do it like this. This is actually something I did in. Well, back to the Thailand thing. Yeah, I was in Thailand and Southeast Asia generally for like 4 months or something like this, and it wasn't until I came to Europe that my feet finally cleared up. Like, I had always some sort of like scab or cut on it, and it just nothing that I did was able to clear it up. And I think it was partially the humidity as well. And I've heard some horror stories as well, like some backpackers, some Aussies or something like this, going to Southeast Asia and just getting drunk, getting blasted drunk, and just dancing, and they have sandals, and then maybe like a bottle falls on the ground, and so they're dancing, and they're dancing in the glass, so their feet get pretty messed up, and so they wake up and their feet are in just a horrible condition, and so they stay off their feet during the day, but then boom, night comes, and you have another chance to drink, and so you drink again, and next thing you know, you're dancing on the same feet, and man, I can't believe that does not sound like a good idea. So please, 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 keep off of the thing that you hurt, and maybe don't do the same thing that hurt it in the first case. Learn from your mistakes, I think. So yeah, another case with the going to the apotheke, drugstore, or pharmacy, something like this, is when I was in like Armenia and Georgia, something like this. Actually, we were in former Soviet Georgia for we planned to be there for 5 days, but me and my buddies ended up staying for 5 weeks. Number of reasons, but a lot of that because it was so nice, and one of those because we had a great host in Tbilisi, and we were able to stay with him for free, just sleep on the ground, and some point we took home a stray cat, just a tiny stray cat. Like, it was so tiny, it could fit literally in a teacup. It was so tiny, but we were trying to nurse it up to health and just make sure that it wouldn't die. But this poor thing was so sick, so sick. It was just snot and it was sneezing, and we took care of it for 2 weeks. And we had like three cats, and the other cats like doubled in size, literally doubled in size during this time. But this little cat, this little booger faced cat, just did not get bigger. He was still sick. We were trying to help him out as much as we could, but he loved to sleep with us, which was really nice, and he especially liked me. Except I'm pretty sure the cat had ringworm, so I started getting these weird rashes on my stomach, like right under my rib cage, on my skin, and I was like, that's weird. It's like kind of like a ring, and it's just kind of this. It's kind of itches a little bit, but it doesn't. It's not. It's really it. It's just kind of a welt. It's kind of popping out, and I had a few. My friend had a few. The cat also slept with him. So eventually we figured out it was the cat, but we didn't know what it was, and we would go to the pharmacies and we'd just be like, hey, what's this? We'd pull up our shirts and what is this? They would look at it like, gripka, gripka. They're speaking Russian. I guess just means like fungus or something like this. So they'd give us fungus stuff. So I mean, the drugstore people, they know what they're talking about. If you show them a weird rash, they probably can figure it out, and they'll give you the right cream. And I don't think the creams ever cost more than 5 or 10 euros or something like that. So it was definitely cheap, and definitely I guess more comfortable than going to a hospital. Staying there for a few hours and getting prescribed the same exact thing. Like really, it's just, in my opinion at least, a waste of time. Maybe there's definitely some cases where a doctor's visit is warranted, but these creams really didn't do much. It really wasn't until we went to Egypt, actually, on this, which I mentioned earlier, that it really cleared up. And I think it was the sun that cleared it up. And I guess obviously funguses don't like sun. I mean, mushrooms grow in dark, damp places, right? And so we were in the sun and in the dry, and so this is really when it went away. The creams really didn't do much, which we later found out when I did a Google search on one of the creams. It was actually for yeast infections for women. I got a yeast infection cream to put on myself. But I guess the principle's the same. But definitely, I mean, maybe go to a few places as well, so you don't get some weird woman's needs creams prescribed to you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. These are my experiences, and generally, I think you're gonna be okay if whatever you do. But I've always heard if you don't get sick while you're traveling, you're not doing it right. And this generally means stomach issues, right? Like if you're gonna, I don't know, not feel good, or things are going out or something, like the thing going up the front top or something like this. Because if you're not doing it, if you're not getting sick, then maybe you're not putting yourself out there enough. Maybe you're just at the buffet line on the cruise, which you really should be going out and having the local foods and everything like this. So I would recommend putting yourself out there and do get the sickness once, and maybe sit on the toilet for a day, but maybe it's worth it, something like this. Especially if you're gonna be going for a longer time. Maybe if you're going for a short time, like less than a week, then it's not worth it. But definitely, this is what I would recommend too. Is with the water, you want to. The local water is going to make you sick a lot of times because just there's different bacteria in it, and your stomach's not used to it, and so your stomach will get used to it after a certain amount of days. But yeah, so it just if it's not, then you're gonna have to drink bottled water or not. But it also, this depends on how long you're gonna be traveling, how long you're gonna be in this area, in this region, because again, if you're going to be there for a short time, like a week or less, or I would say even maybe 2 weeks or less, then okay, maybe it's worth it to do precautions like not brushing your teeth with the local tap water, of course not drinking the local tap water, not drinking peeled, or not eating peeled fruit, or desserts are a big thing as well, or just if food's been sitting out for a long time. So definitely go to places that are more popular, that have lots of people going through, because otherwise it could be sitting there for a while. Maybe they reused it or something like this. So this is definitely something you have to look out for. But if you're gonna be staying for a longer time, I would say just take the hit. Maybe just start out small. Maybe just start out, brushing your teeth with the water, for example, and then working your way up to maybe even drinking the water, especially if you're gonna be there for a longer time. Because, I mean, this is up to you, like how much you weigh, a case of diarrhea versus not. But for me, it's too much hassle and too much expense to be buying bottled water all the time and brushing your teeth with it, and just saying no to like half the stuff at the restaurant. So I'd rather get sick, and I'd rather experience the local thing. And it's been okay so far, and my sicknesses haven't been too bad. I've had some friends that have been on the toilet for a long time. sorry for this, for a few hours, and they come out like literally 5 kilos or 10 pounds lighter, and it was not a fun experience. So definitely it's a you have to, I guess, weigh the costs and the benefits to what you want to do. So yeah, also if you're somewhere for longer, this goes without saying, and you should be making friends with locals and fellow tourists or fellow travelers, fellow backpackers, all this kind of stuff, because they're going to know a lot of stuff. And Google's your friend in this case as well. You can Google your symptoms. Don't worry, you don't have brain cancer in every case, but maybe just look at it and see with an open mind like what it is you might have, and talk to the fellow citizens or tourists and everything like this. They'll know in case you have to go to a hospital, or just some recommendations. Maybe if you're staying in a hostel, they'll know what to do, where to go, or if I don't know, all this kind of stuff. Your host, if you're doing couch surfing, they're going to know what to do, or all this kind of stuff. And so really, you're not alone when you do this. You have somewhere to turn to. So yeah, this is basically my experience with being sick, or going, I guess, not being yourself while you're traveling, and just kind of not having a fun time. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen more than when you're at home, obviously, because you're doing a lot more stuff and you're exposing yourself to a lot more things. But let me tell you, it's absolutely worth it. And even this little band-aid on my forehead right now, I guess it was worth it. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have done it if I don't know. I would have done things differently. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's the point of doing this, is to learn and not to do the same mistake twice, right? So basically, that's it. I mean, to kind of recap, if you're in a place for a longer time, get some sort of health insurance. Maybe if you want to as well, you get a traveler's health insurance, and this can cost anywhere. I've seen. I mean, it depends on where you go as well. This can cost like, I don't know, even $100 a month or $500 a month. So it can be quite expensive, and I found that it can be more price friendly to not do this. Yeah, just get the local form of health insurance. Go to drugstores first if you can, or apothecaries, or this kind of pharmacies first if you can, and just stay with the cheaper places if you can. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully I won't have to update this ever and there will be no more travel mishaps, no more accidents, no more anything like this. And so yeah, guys, let me know what you think about the video. Let me know what you think about the podcast, and we'll see. This is an experiment. We'll see if it's going to stay or not. Enjoy, guys. Ciao.